Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today, the top 10 celebrities who could or should become president. Not so long ago, the best way to become president was to join the army and serve your country with distinction. A bit later, it was to work your way up to the ranks of elected official, governor, senator, and then into the White House. These days, the best route seems to be becoming famous and then using your celebrity to get loads of people to vote for you. Gone are the days of your Dwight D. Eisenhowers, your FDRs, your JFKs. Gone even are the days of Ronald Reagan, who started as an actor before switching to the whole governor, then White House trail. Today, however, it's reality shows and showmanship that win you elections, and they may be here to stay, which does kind of beg the question, if we're in the age of the celebrity presidency, then what celebrities would be best for the job? Which celebrities would most Americans like to see sat in the Oval Office, working for the little guy? Well, we've taken a quick spin through Hollywood to find the top 10 celebrity candidates, be they conservative, liberal, or independent. If you're eyeing a White House bid in 2020, you've got to make sure you've got the star power to match these guys. Number 10. The Rock for the Republicans. As of 2018, Dwayne Johnson, better known as Mountain of Man Muscle The Rock, is officially recognized as independent. But this is just a post-Trump change. Prior to the Donald's 2016 takeover of the GOP, The Rock was a registered Republican who had previously appeared at party conventions. While Donnie's probably got the nomination already sewn up for 2020, it's not hard to imagine the GOP looking for a big change of direction in 2024. Good news then that The Rock has already said that he's toying with the idea of running. So what could Mr. Rock bring to the White House aside from an eyebrow capable of being raised right up into the stratosphere? Well, for one thing, he's charismatic as heck. He's got a track record of talking to his fans with all the grace, kindness, and sincerity of a consummate politician. For another, he's got a clear business head on his impossibly broad shoulders. Aside from being one of the highest paid stars on the planet, he's got his own production company with a digital subsidiary and another subsidiary that handles advertising. On top of all that, he's got to where he is through hard friggin' work. At one point, he only had $7 to his name. Plus, there's also the effect that most of the dictators around the world are going to be pretty afraid of him. Number 9. Oprah for the Democrats. The last time the Democrats fielded a female candidate, it ended in the sort of disaster usually only experienced aboard ocean liners named Titanic. But Hillary Clinton was a career politician dogged by multiple scandals tied to a past president, and she had all the charisma of a malfunctioning killbot trying to keep its identity secret just long enough to get its steel claws on the nuclear codes. Oprah, by contrast, is a woman with a personality so bright it's the closest thing entertainment has to a cult. She's a billionaire, she's globally known, she doesn't take crap from anyone, and she could set a lighter party with a strong base among women and minorities. The idea of Oprah becoming the commander-in-chief has almost been around as long as Oprah herself, but it gained real traction following a barnstorming Golden Globe speech that sounded like a thinly veiled campaign speech. Since then, Oprah has reportedly ruled out running for president in 2020.
I am definitely not running.
You'll notice that leaves plenty of election years that haven't specifically been ruled out. Even the current president seems to think she wouldn't be half bad in the Capitol. In 1999, Donald Trump stated that if he ever ran for president, he'd like Oprah to be his VP pick. Number 8. Jon Stewart, left-wing independent. For a whole generation of Americans, the only filter they got all their news and commentary through was the one marked with the name Jon Stewart. The former host of The Daily Show became a household name for repeatedly kicking 7 shades of stuffing out of the Bush administration, a move he then repeated on the Obama White House. Although clearly left-leaning, he's never been a party Democrat. After the 2016 election, he savaged the Democrats for failing their base. Sure, any election bid would probably involve him running as a Democrat in name, but only in the way that Bernie Sanders planned to, or as Trump did with the GOP. Fans of Stewart would point to his incredible political expertise and clear-sighted ability to see the worst in awful people, no matter what side of the political spectrum they hail from. Try and imagine Stewart giving a grope-happy senator like Al Franken a free pass just because they're on the same team. The reason you can't imagine this is because the dude has genuine integrity no matter what you think of his politics. And speaking of his politics, let's take a moment to remember that he's the guy who helped make the 9/11 first responders health bill a reality. I mean, who couldn't get behind a background like that? Number 7. Chris Pratt for the Republicans. Can we just take a moment to remember that it's been a long time since there's been a US president capable of giving anyone romantic heart palpitations? I mean, this fact alone would be enough to get 90% of living, breathing mammals on side for Chris Pratt. But there's also what the galaxy-guarding hunk stands for. He's one of the few Hollywood mega-celebrities to fully embrace conservatism and Christianity. For a GOP that's often characterized as being old white men, Pratt would bring on board a youthfulness and sex appeal that is currently sorely lacking. I mean, whatever you think of Trump, his abs are not his major selling point. While we kind of hope that would be enough alone, we should probably get into his politics. Well, Pratt certainly has form there too. He's a hunter who enjoys shooting and eating meat, has previously helped raise funds for wounded servicemen, and has managed to do it all without antagonizing those who have different beliefs to him. In a pro-meat, pro-hunting Instagram post, he even took time to say that he had no problem with veggies and respected their beliefs. Well, there you go. He's understanding and political. Your president in our hearts, at least, Chris. Number 6. George Clooney for the Democrats. The handsome older version of Chris Pratt's boyish good looks, George Clooney is probably the candidate Democrats have been waiting decades for. He's got a high-profile, seriously suave demeanor, a track record in fundraising for the Dems, and Bernie Sanders-style protest pedigree. He has indeed previously been arrested for protesting for causes he believes in. As a bonus, he's exactly the sort of guy you can imagine riding out any kind of debate with a winning smile and a few perfectly timed quips. That's exactly the sort of thing that's going to play well in our dawning age of celebrity presidencies. To add fuel to this fire of supposition and faint hope, Clooney himself has taken to making pronouncements about the state of the Democratic Party for the 2020 elections. In 2017, he told The Hill that he was disappointed that no left-wing candidate currently lights up the room with his or her charisma like Donald Trump can. Although he never actually said it, many people assumed that the ending of that sentence would be, like I, George Clooney, also can, so give me the darn nomination already. Number 5. Kurt Russell, right-wing independent or Libertarian Party. Let's quickly get a celebrity political myth out of the way. Kurt Russell isn't a Republican. His unwavering support for the Second Amendment has gotten him painted as one of the GOP faithfuls in many articles from both the left and the right. But the grizzled actor himself has stated that he is not a member of the Republican Party. In his own words, he is a hardcore libertarian. Russell's political feelings could apparently be summed up as getting the government the hell out of there, but also leaving enough space so that everyone can grab at the good life. Russell does have a lot going for him aside from his status as a beloved cult actor. He's not a blowhard, and he has repeatedly said that he prefers civil discourse rather than simply having a go at people. He's also kind of persuasive. Seriously, when you read or listen to the few times he's discussing his beliefs, he tends to come off as someone you could agree with. And that's a really powerful tool for a presidential candidate to have. The only problem here, of course, is that he seems to have no desire to run whatsoever. Number 4. Michelle Obama for the Democrats. The day she left the White House, Michelle Obama's favorability rating stood at 68%. That's higher than her husband's, that's higher than Joe Biden's, and it's way higher than Hillary Clinton's was on her last day at the White House. That was 56%. That fact alone should give any Democratic Party strategists watching this pause for thought. But Michelle has even more up her sleeve than just popularity. She's a proven public speaker with a track record of supporting causes that nearly everyone can get behind. She's also got some serious experience. During Barack Obama's tenure, Michelle became a fixture at international summits, building ties with world leaders. She's done good things for mental health, worked for the disabled, is a lawyer, a feminist, and the list goes on. She'd also doubtless benefit from picking back up voters who endorsed her husband but abandoned Hillary in 2016. In other words, she'd be a practical presidential pick from both a competence and a purely electoral point of view. Number 3. Ivanka Trump for the Republicans. She's the calming yin to her father's raging yang. Ivanka Trump is a modern, successful businesswoman who already has a wealth of experience on the world stage. Don't believe us? Well, just look at the CV she's built up since her dad took over the White House. She was at the G20, rubbing shoulders with world leaders like Angela Merkel. She worked with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to boost global entrepreneurship. She's helped the World Bank with projects, has pushed her father towards helping LGBT people, and has helped run his business empire. That's all in significantly less than 2 years. So imagine what she could do with 8 if she was in the Oval Office. Of course, the downside is that recent track records suggest that Americans have soured on the idea of dynasties. After punishing Hillary Clinton at the polls in 2016, it's hard to imagine the general public warming to the idea of another 4 years with a Trump in the White House come 2024, no matter what the polls are saying by then. This is, of course, assuming that the Donald wins re-election. But then again, Ivanka's a pretty remarkable woman, and if anybody could overcome that obstacle, it would be her. And then there's the fact that she's still only 36, so even if 2024 doesn't work out, she could still run for president in 2028. Number 2. Tom Hanks for the Democrats. Depending on your age, having Tom Hanks as president would be like having your favorite younger brother, older brother, or kindly uncle sitting in the White House. And it seems that plenty of people feel that way. According to a probably wildly unscientific poll reported by Britain's independent newspaper, Tom Hanks is far and away people's top choice when it comes to celebrities standing at the top of the Dems' 2020 ticket. Just imagine Forrest Gump sat on Capitol Hill running the country like one of his shrimping vessels. I mean, really, what's not to like? To be fair, Hanks wouldn't be to everyone's taste. He's a dyed-in-the-wool liberal, perhaps far too strongly so to attract moderates and independent voters. On the other hand, he's a great orator whose barnstorming speech at Murmur following Hillary's 2016 election loss showed that he was a guy who understood history, understood the Constitution, and importantly, understood what motivated former Democrats to vote for Trump. That's the kind of bridge-building, non-divisive personality we haven't seen take the White House for a couple of generations. Number 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Republicans. Did you know that the Terminator wanted to run in the 2016 presidential race? Yep, that's right. If the rules were just slightly different regarding immigration and public office, we could now be living in a world in which Arnie himself was leading the country and dispensing one-liners at the same time. Sadly, his Austrian birth bars him from ever becoming president, even though he's been an American citizen since 1983. But, well, this is a hypothetical video after all, and there's nothing to say that the rules can't one day change. So what would Arnie bring to the table aside from a stack of muscles so bulging you could hollow one of them out and create a home big enough for a family of 4? Well, he's one of those modern rarities. He's a genuine moderate who may be Republican but shares a lot of positions with the right wing of the Democrat Party. I mean, he was married to a Kennedy after all. That would bode well for cross-party cooperation on just about everything, which could be just what Congress needs to break its current endless gridlock. He also has political exposure, having led the state of California for 8 years. It may not be legally possible to get him into office, but we can all dream, right? So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for brand new videos every day of the week. Also, I've got another channel, it's called Biographics. It's biographies of notable people from the present day as well as history, from Elon Musk to Osama bin Laden. You can check it out through the icon on the screen now, but if you want something else to watch right now, why not check out another TopTenz video or a Biographics video over there on the right. And as always, thank you for watching.